The medical bay was quiet when the doors slid open. Taemin looked up from his datapad and saw her walk in. She was tall, maybe 7 feet, with skin that seemed to shimmer like morning frost. Her eyes were large and silver, catching the light in strange ways. A luminar. He had treated a few of them before, but not many came to this station. "Please, sit down," Taemin said, gesturing to the examination table. He kept his voice calm and professional. After 3 years working on Celestial Station Harmony, he had learned that most aliens appreciated a gentle approach. Some of them found humans intimidating, which always seemed strange to him. The woman moved gracefully across the room. Her flowing robes made soft sounds like wind through crystals. "Thank you, Doctor," she said. Her voice had a musical quality that most luminars shared. "My name is Vela. I have been experiencing pain in my respiratory system." Taemin nodded and reached for his medical scanner. "I'm Taemin. Let me take a look and see what we can do for you." He had treated respiratory issues in luminars before. Their breathing system was complex, with multiple filtering organs that sometimes developed blockages from station air. He stepped closer and began the scan, moving the device slowly over her chest area. The readings appeared on his datapad. Everything looked normal so far. "Take a deep breath for me," he instructed. Vela inhaled, and Taemin watched the readings carefully. That's when she saw his arm. He had rolled up his sleeves earlier, and the scar was visible. It ran from his wrist almost to his elbow, a twisted pattern of healed burn tissue. The skin was paler there, marked by the fire that had caused it. Vela's breath caught. Not from pain, from something else. Her silver eyes went wide. She stared at his arm like she was seeing a ghost. Her hand reached out, trembling, but stopped before touching him. "You," she whispered. The musical quality in her voice was gone, replaced by something that sounded like fear and wonder mixed together. "You can't be real." Taemin pulled his arm back slightly, confused. "I'm sorry? Is something wrong?" Vela stood up suddenly. She was shaking. Her eyes never left his scar. "That mark. That pattern. Where did you get it?" "It's just a burn scar," Taemin said slowly. He was concerned now. This wasn't a normal reaction. "I got it 3 years ago. There was a fire on a transport ship. I pulled a kid out of the engine room." He remembered that day clearly. The heat, the smoke, the child's crying. His arm had hurt for months afterward, but the kid had lived. "Show me," Vela said. It wasn't a request. Her whole body was tense. Taemin extended his arm, turning it so she could see the full length of the scar. Vela leaned in close, studying every line and curve. Her breathing was fast now, faster than it should be for someone with respiratory pain. "The pattern," she said quietly. "The exact pattern. This is impossible." She looked up at his face. "Do you know what this means? Do you have any idea?" "It means I got burned," Taemin said. He was starting to worry that Vela might be having some kind of mental episode. "Look, why don't you sit back down? Maybe we should scan your neural pathways too." "I am not sick in my mind," Vela said firmly. "I am shocked. 3,000 years. 3,000 years, and here you stand." She pulled out a small device from her robes. Her fingers moved quickly across its surface. An image appeared, floating in the air between them. It was old, very old. The image quality was poor, flickering and damaged by time, but Taemin could see what it showed. An arm. A humanoid arm with a burn pattern on it. The pattern matched his scar almost perfectly. "What is this?" Taemin asked. "An artifact image from our most ancient temples," Vela said. "From the time before my people reached the stars. We have stories, old stories that most luminars think are just myths. Stories about beings we called the Enduring Ones." Taemin stared at the image. The similarity was strange, he had to admit. but it had to be a coincidence. I don't understand what you're trying to say. The enduring ones appeared in our history during the Great Fire, Vela explained. She was talking faster now, excited. Our world was dying. Volcanoes erupted everywhere. Most of us thought we would all perish. But then they came. Beings who looked almost like you. They walked through fire to save our people. They carried children from burning buildings. They endured heat that should have killed them. That's impossible, Taemin said. Humans only joined the galactic community 40 years ago. We never left our solar system before that. That is what everyone believes, Vela said. But what if you are wrong? What if humans were here before? What if you forgot? Taemin shook his head. That's a nice story, but scars are common. Burns happen. This is just a coincidence. Vela looked disappointed. Perhaps, but I must check. I must know. She touched her communication device. This is Vela. I need to speak with the station commander. It is urgent. Wait, Taemin said. Let's not make this a big thing. You came here for respiratory treatment, remember? But Vela wasn't listening. She was already talking to someone on her device, speaking rapidly in her own language. Taemin caught a few words he recognized. Ancient, proof, human, real. The doors to the medical bay opened again. Commander Ji-woo walked in, looking annoyed. She was a short woman with sharp eyes and an expression that said she didn't like having her time wasted. This better be important, she said. I have a station to run. Show her, Vela said to Taemin. Taemin sighed and held up his arm. Ji-woo looked at the scar, then at Vela, then back at the scar. Okay, she said slowly. Someone want to explain why I'm looking at Taemin's old burn? Vela showed Ji-woo the ancient image. The commander's expression changed. She leaned closer, comparing the scar to the artifact image. Her eyes narrowed. That's unusual, she admitted. It is more than unusual, Vela insisted. It is proof that the old stories are true. Or it's just a weird coincidence, Ji-woo said. But she didn't sound completely convinced. She looked at Taemin. Where exactly did you say you got this? Transport ship fire. 3 years ago, the stellar dawn, on a run between Earth and Mars. Ji-woo pulled out her own data pad and started typing. I'm going to pull the incident report. And Vela, I want everything you have on these Enduring One stories. You believe me? Vela asked. I believe in checking facts, Ji-woo said. If there's something strange going on, I want to know about it. She looked at Taemin. You might want to sit down too. Something tells me this is going to be a long day. Taemin sat. His arm suddenly felt heavy. He looked at his scar, at the twisted pattern of healed skin. He had never thought much about it before. It was just a mark from a bad day. But now Vela was staring at it like it held the secrets of the universe. Maybe it did. The conference room was crowded. Taemin sat at the long table feeling out of place. Around him were people who seemed much more important. Commander Ji-woo was there, along with the station's science officer, Hana. A woman with glasses who kept staring at him like he was a lab specimen. Vela sat across from him, and next to her was another woman she had introduced as Yuna, a galactic historian. Let me make sure I understand this correctly, Hana said, adjusting her glasses. You're suggesting that humans have been in space for thousands of years, and we somehow forgot. I am not suggesting, Vela said. I am presenting evidence. She activated the holographic display in the center of the table. Images appeared, ancient and damaged. These are from the Luminar archives. They are over 3,000 years old. The images showed figures that looked human. They were wearing strange suits, different from modern spacesuits, but clearly designed for protection. In one image, a humanoid figure carried a Luminar child through what looked like flames. In another, several figures were helping to build some kind of structure. The enduring ones, Vela continued. They appeared during our darkest time. They helped us survive. Then they vanished. We always thought they were just myths, stories our ancestors told to give us hope. But that scar, she pointed at Taemin. That scar matches our records exactly. Yuna spoke up. She was older, with gray hair and a calm voice. The Luminar story is not unique. I have spent my career studying mythological convergence across different species. At least 12 other civilizations have similar legends. 12? Jiwoo asked, leaning forward. 12 that I know of, Yuna said. Probably more. The details vary, but the core story is always the same. Humanoid beings appear during catastrophes. They demonstrate remarkable endurance. They help, then they disappear. Most scholars assume these were just archetypal myths, the kind that develop independently in different cultures. But what if they're not myths? Vela asked. What if they're memories? Taemin finally spoke. This is crazy. I got this scar from saving a kid from a fire. That's it. There's nothing special about it. Hana looked at him thoughtfully. Tell us about that fire. Every detail you remember. Taemin shrugged. There's not much to tell. I was on the Stellar Dawn, heading back to Earth. There was an explosion in the engine room. Systems failed. Fire started spreading. Most people got to escape pods, but I heard a kid crying. The parents were already in a pod. They were screaming. So I went in. Through the fire? Hana asked. Yeah, the heat was bad. Really bad. My suit helped, but it got damaged. That's how I got burned. I grabbed the kid and ran back out. The medics patched me up. End of story. How long were you in there? Hana asked. Taemin thought about it. Maybe 2 minutes? Felt longer? Hana typed something on her datapad. The incident report says the temperature in that engine room reached over 900 degrees Celsius. Your suit was rated for half that. I got lucky, Taemin said. Did you? Hana asked. The report also says you had second-degree burns on your arm, but nowhere else. It says you were treated and released within 3 days. Most species would have died from that exposure. Most humans would have been hospitalized for weeks. I heal fast, Taemin said. He was starting to feel uncomfortable with all the attention. Exactly, Vela said softly. The enduring ones were known for their healing, for surviving things that should kill them. Jiwoo held up a hand. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're talking about one scar and some old stories. That's not proof of anything. Then explain this, Yuna said. She pulled up new images. These were from different sources, different styles of art and recording, but they all showed the same thing. Humanoid figures helping alien species. The Krell have stories about the persistent people who helped them survive a plague. The Voth remember the unbreaking ones who taught them to build shelters against radiation storms. The pattern is clear. Humans are persistent, Jiwoo admitted. We're tough. Everyone knows that. But being tough now doesn't mean we were flying around the galaxy 3,000 years ago. Earth history is well documented. We have continuous records going back 10,000 years. There are no gaps. Are you certain? Yuna asked. Human history from before writing is unclear. You have myths too, stories about lost civilizations, Atlantis, Lemuria. What if some of those stories are based on truth? Taemin rubbed his face. This was giving him a headache. So what are you saying? That ancient humans had spaceships, flew around helping aliens, then came back to Earth and decided to forget everything and start over? Maybe they had no choice, Vela said. Maybe something forced them to hide. The room was quiet for a moment. Hana broke the silence. This is all very interesting speculation, but we need more than myths and coincidences. We need hard evidence. I agree, Yuna said. She pulled up another image. This one was different. It showed coordinates in galactic standard format. This was included in the Luminar archives. It was marked as the last known location of the Enduring Ones, a sector of space that is now forbidden. Forbidden by whom? Jiwoo asked. By the Galactic Council, Yuna said. The sector is marked as a dead zone. No ships allowed, no explanation given. I have requested access to the archives about this sector multiple times over the years. My requests have always been denied. That's suspicious, Hana said. Very, Yuna agreed. But there is something else, something I only discovered recently. She magnified part of the coordinate image. In the corner was a symbol, faded and barely visible. It looked like a circle with 3 lines through it. Jiwoo gasped. Taemin sat up straighter. He knew that symbol. Every human in the military knew it. That's the Earth Defense Force emblem, Jiwoo said, from the early colonial period. We stopped using it 20 years ago. Are you certain? Vela asked. Positive, Jiwoo said. I served in the EDF. That's our old symbol. But this image is 3,000 years old, Yuna said quietly. The room went silent again. Taemin looked at his scar. He had always thought of it as a simple thing, a mark from a moment of panic and bravery. But now people were suggesting it connected him to an ancient mystery. It seemed impossible. We need to investigate, Jiwoo said finally. If there's even a small chance that this is real, we have to know. Investigate how? Hana asked. We go to the forbidden sector, Jiwoo said. We see what's there. That will require authorization, Yuna pointed out. The council will not simply let us enter a restricted area. Then we don't ask permission, Jiwoo said. She had that look in her eyes, the one Taemin had seen before. It meant she had made up her mind. We're a scientific research vessel. We're allowed to explore. If we happen to wander into that sector by accident, well, space is big. Mistakes happen. That's risky, Hana said. But she was smiling slightly. I'm a medic, Taemin said. Not an explorer. Why do I need to go? Because you're part of this now, Vela said. She looked at his arm again. That scar is a key. I do not know what it unlocks, but I know it is important. Taemin wanted to argue. He wanted to say this was all nonsense, but a small part of him was curious. What if they were right? What if there was more to his scar than random chance? Fine, he said. But when we get there and find nothing, I want everyone to admit this was all just a wild coincidence. Deal, Jiwoo said. She stood up. Hana, start preparing the ship. Yuna, gather everything you have on this forbidden sector. Vela, I want all your historical data uploaded to our systems. We leave in 48 hours. Everyone started moving, talking, planning. Taemin stayed in his seat, looking at his arm. The scar suddenly felt like it was burning again, just like it had 3 years ago. But this time, the heat wasn't from fire. It was from the weight of 3,000 years of mystery pressing down on him. And he had the strange feeling that once they reached that forbidden sector, nothing would ever be the same again. The journey to the Luminar homeworld took 5 days. Taemin spent most of that time in the medical bay, trying to stay busy. But his mind kept wandering back to the mystery. He caught himself looking at his scar more often than usual, tracing the pattern with his fingers. The ship was called the Discovery. It was small, but well-equipped, with a crew of 8. Besides Taemin, Jiwoo, Hana, Vela, and Yuna, there were 3 others. Dae-hyun was the security chief, a big man with a quiet voice who seemed to notice everything. Bo-ra was the linguist, young and enthusiastic about anything involving ancient languages. Kyung-soo was the engineer, always covered in grease and always complaining about something breaking down. We're approaching Luminar space, Jiwoo announced over the ship's communication system. Everyone prepare for orbital insertion. Taemin strapped himself into a seat. Through the window, he could see the planet below. It was beautiful, with swirling clouds of silver and blue. The surface seemed to shimmer, reflecting light in ways that Earth never did. Luminar cities were visible from orbit, glowing like clusters of stars. The landing was smooth. A shuttle took them down to the surface, to a city called Crystal Spire. The buildings were tall and elegant, made from some kind of translucent material that caught the sunlight. Luminars walked the streets, their skin shimmering in various shades of silver and blue. Vela led them to the Archive Tower, the tallest building in the city. It rose into the sky like a needle, so high that clouds drifted around its middle sections. Inside, everything was quiet and cool. The walls displayed shifting patterns of light and color. An elderly luminar met them at the entrance. His skin was darker than Vela's, almost gray, and his eyes were dimmer. "I am Keeper Ral," he said. His voice was whispery, like wind through distant caves. "Vela has told me of your search. I must warn you, the sealed archives have been closed for good reason." "What reason?" Yuna asked. "Fear," Ral said simply. "Fear of what the truth might mean. But come, I will show you what we have hidden." He led them deep into the tower, down corridors that seemed to shift and change. Taemin wasn't sure if it was technology or if he was just disoriented. Finally, they reached a massive door covered in symbols. "Beyond this door is our deepest history," Ral said. "The things we chose to forget." He placed his hand on the door. It glowed, recognizing him, and slowly opened. The room beyond was vast. Holographic displays floated everywhere, showing images and text in languages Taemin couldn't read. But some images needed no translation. He saw humans, or beings that looked exactly like humans. They wore strange suits and carried equipment that seemed both advanced and primitive at the same time. "This is incredible," Hana whispered. She immediately started scanning everything with her equipment. Vela walked to the center of the room and activated the main display. A large hologram appeared, showing a human figure. The detail was amazing. Taemin could see individual hairs, the texture of skin, even the pattern of veins beneath the surface. "This is from 3,200 years ago," Vela said. "It is the most complete image we have of an enduring one." The figure looked like it could have been Taemin's cousin. Same build, same facial structure. The only difference was the suit, which was unlike anything modern humans wore. It was covered in symbols that looked almost like Korean script, but not quite. "Bora," Yuna said. "Look at this writing." The linguist hurried over, her eyes wide. She stared at the symbols, her lips moving as she tried to sound them out. "This is Proto-Korean," she said finally. "Very old, before the unified writing system. But I can read some of it." She pointed to specific symbols. "This word means protection. This one means home. And this one..." She paused. "This one means earth." The room fell silent. Even Kyung-soo, who had been examining the technical equipment in the corner, stopped what he was doing. "Show us everything," Ji-woo said to Ral. "I want to see it all." For the next 6 hours, they went through the archives. The records showed humans working alongside luminars, teaching them construction techniques, showing them how to purify water, helping them evacuate cities before volcanic eruptions. In every image, the humans demonstrated remarkable endurance. They worked for days without rest. They survived in conditions that killed others. They healed from injuries that should have been fatal. One record showed a human pulling a luminar from a collapsed building. The human's leg was clearly broken, bent at an angle that made Taemin wince. But in the next image, taken only 3 days later, the same human was walking normally. "That's impossible," Dae-hyun said. "Even with modern medicine, a break like that takes weeks to heal." "Not for them," Ral said. "The enduring ones healed like nothing we had ever seen." Some of our people thought they were gods. Others thought they were demons. Most of us just thought they were a miracle. Yuna found something else. A star map, old and partially corrupted, but still readable. It showed routes between different solar systems. One system was marked with the Earth Defense Force symbol. "These are navigation coordinates," Kyung-soo said, studying the map. "Old style, but I can translate them." He worked for several minutes, muttering to himself. Finally, he looked up. "I've got a location. It's in the Forbidden Sector, exactly where the Council said no one should go." "What's there?" Ji-woo asked. "According to this map, it's a station," Kyung-soo said. "A big one. The map calls it Sanctuary Point." "We have to go there," Vela said. There was no question in her voice. "Agreed," Ji-woo said. "But we need to be careful. If the Council forbade that sector, there might be a good reason." "Or they are hiding something," Yuna said. "Either way, we need to know the truth." They spent another day on the Luminar homeworld, copying as much data as they could. Ral gave them access to everything, even records that had been sealed for centuries. Tai Min watched it all, feeling increasingly surreal. These were his ancestors, maybe. People who looked like him, talked like him, but lived thousands of years ago in space. On the last night, Vela found him sitting alone in the observation deck of their ship. The Luminar homeworld filled the view, beautiful and alien. "You are troubled," Vela said, sitting beside him. "Wouldn't you be?" Taemin asked. "A week ago, I was just a medic. Now I'm supposedly connected to some ancient mystery." "The scar does not make you special," Vela said gently. "You were already special. The scar just helped me see it." "I'm not special," Taemin said. "I'm just a guy who tries to help people." "Yes," Vela said. "Just like them. The enduring ones did not help us because they were gods or heroes. They helped us because that is what they did. They saw people in need, and they acted. That is why we remember them, not for their strength, but for their kindness." Taemin looked at his scar again. "What if we're wrong? What if this is all just a big coincidence?" "Then we will know," Vela said. "But I do not think we are wrong. I have spent my life studying history, and I have learned that sometimes the most unlikely truth is still true." The next morning, they left orbit. The coordinates were set. Sanctuary Point was 5 days away, deep in the Forbidden Sector. Ji-woo had sent a message back to Celestial Station Harmony, explaining where they were going, just in case. "We're about to cross into restricted space," Hana announced on the 3rd day. "No signs of patrol ships, no warnings. It's like this sector is just empty." "Stay alert," Ji-woo ordered. "Dae-hyun, keep weapons ready just in case." They crossed the boundary. Nothing happened. Space looked the same as it did everywhere else. Stars, darkness, the infinite void. But on the 5th day, their sensors picked up something. A structure, massive and ancient, floating in the darkness. It was clearly artificial, a station built by intelligent hands. But it was dark, no lights, no power signatures. Dead. "That's it," Kyung-soo said. "That's Sanctuary Point." As they got closer, Taemin could see details. The station was huge, easily the size of a small city. Parts of it looked damaged, scarred by weapons fire. Other parts seemed intact, preserved by the vacuum of space. And on the side, barely visible but still there after thousands of years, was a symbol, the Earth Defense Force emblem. "We found it," Vela whispered. "We actually found it." Ji-woo's voice was steady, but Taemin could hear the emotion underneath. "Prepare for boarding. Everyone suit up. We're going inside." Taemin touched his scar one more time before putting on his helmet. Whatever answers waited in that dead station, he was about to find them. The airlock hissed as it connected to the ancient station. Taemin checked his suit seals one more time. His heart was beating fast. They were about to step into a place that had been abandoned for over 3,000 years. "Remember," Ji-woo said over the communication channel. "Stay together. Watch your air supply. If anything feels wrong, we leave immediately." The outer door opened. Darkness waited beyond. Dae-hyun went first, his rifle ready, a light mounted on his helmet cutting through the black. The others followed. Tae-min was in the middle of the group, with Kyung-soo right behind him. The station was cold and silent. Their lights revealed corridors that looked almost familiar. The design was human, definitely human, but older somehow. The walls had writing on them, in that same Proto-Korean script Bo-ra had identified. "I can read some of this," Bo-ra said excitedly. She ran her gloved hand along the wall. "This says Medical Bay, and this one says Living Quarters. This is definitely a human station." They moved deeper inside. Kyung-soo found a power junction and examined it. "The design is primitive by our standards, but clever. Very clever. If I can restore even partial power, we might be able to access their computer systems." "Do it," Ji-woo said, "but carefully. We don't know what condition anything is in." Kyung-soo worked while the others explored. They found living quarters, small rooms with beds and personal items still floating in the zero gravity. Photographs were stuck to walls, showing people who looked exactly like modern humans. Families, friends, lives lived and lost. Tae-min entered one room and his light fell on a small toy, a stuffed animal of some kind. It drifted past his face, moved by the air from his suit. Children had lived here. That thought made everything feel more real, more tragic. "Got it!" Kyung-soo shouted. Somewhere deep in the station, systems woke up. Lights began to flicker on, dim and weak after millennia of sleep. Gravity returned, gentle at first, then stronger. Everyone's feet touched the floor with soft thuds. "Careful," Dae-hyun warned. "If the lights work, other systems might too, including security." But nothing attacked them. The station just hummed quietly, grateful perhaps to be alive again after so long. Hana found the command center. It was a large room filled with screens and control panels. Most were dead, but some flickered to life as Kyung-soo routed power to them. Data began scrolling across displays, too fast to read. "Bo-ra, I need you," Hana said. "This is all in that old script." Bo-ra sat at a terminal and began working. Her fingers moved across the keyboard, hesitant at first, then more confident. "I'm accessing their logs, their records. There's so much data here. Look for anything about why they left," Ji-woo said. "Anything about Earth." Bo-ra worked in silence for several minutes. The others waited, watching the screens. Finally, she gasped. "I found something, a personal log, from someone named Captain Han." "Play it," Ji-woo ordered. A hologram appeared. It was damaged, flickering, but they could see a man's face. He looked tired, scared. He spoke in ancient Korean, but Bo-ra translated in real time. "This is Captain Han of the colony ship New Hope. Today is the worst day of my life. The Dominion found us. I don't know how. We were so careful. We hid Earth's location from every database, every map. But they found us anyway." The image flickered. Captain Han looked away at something off-screen. "They're demanding we surrender. They say we're escaped slaves, that we belong to them, that Earth belongs to them. I've told them we are free people." They laughed. "They say freedom is not something slaves can claim." Another flicker. Han looked directly at the camera now. "To whoever finds this, humans are not weak. We are not slaves. They took our ancestors from Earth 12,000 years ago, scattered us across the galaxy to work in their mines, their factories, their wars. But we learned, we adapted, we survived, and when the time came, we fought back." Tae-min felt a chill run down his spine. 12,000 years. Humans had been in space for 12,000 years. The recording continued. "We won our freedom, but at great cost. The Dominion is powerful. They could find Earth if we leave any trail. So we're making a choice. Those of us in damaged ships, in distant settlements, we will erase all data about Earth's location. We will send our people home through hidden routes, then destroy those routes. Earth must be forgotten, hidden, protected. Han's voice became quieter. I am staying here at Sanctuary Point. Someone must guard the last records, the proof that we existed, that we fought. If Earth ever reaches the stars again, if they find this place, they need to know the truth. They need to know they are not alone. They never were. The hologram froze, then collapsed. The recording was over. The team stood in silence. Taemin realized he was crying inside his helmet. He wiped his eyes. Grateful no one could see. 12,000 years, Yuna said softly. They protected Earth for 12,000 years. And we forgot, Hana said. We lived and died and built civilizations, and we never knew. Vela looked at Taemin. Your scar, that fire you walked through, it is in your blood. The courage, the endurance, it never left. Daehyun was examining another terminal. There's more here. Information about the Dominion, about their technology, their tactics, and... He paused. There's a warning, an automated warning that was supposed to activate if anyone accessed these systems. What kind of warning? Ji-woo asked. Before Daehyun could answer, alarms began blaring. Red lights flashed throughout the station. A mechanical voice spoke in ancient Korean. Bo-ra translated, her voice shaking. It says, warning. Archive accessed. Beacon activated. Dominion forces will arrive in 7 days. Turn it off, Ji-woo shouted. Kyung-soo ran to the power junction. I can't. It's on a separate system. It activated the moment we accessed the logs. It's sending a signal into deep space. To where? Taemin asked, though he already knew the answer. To the Dominion, Kyung-soo said. To whatever is left of them. Ji-woo made a decision fast. We copy everything. Every file, every record, every piece of data. Then we get back to the ship and contact Earth. We need reinforcements. In 7 days? Daehyun asked. No one can get here that fast. Then we'll have to hold out until they do, Ji-woo said. This station held secrets for 3,000 years. We can hold it for 7 days. They worked frantically, copying data, exploring rooms, finding everything they could. In the medical bay, Taemin found stasis pods. Most were empty, but a few still had occupants. Humans, preserved perfectly, sleeping for millennia. But the pods were damaged. The people inside were dead, had been dead for thousands of years. He found a doctor's log. We tried to save them. We tried to save everyone, but there were too many injured, too few supplies. I put the worst cases in stasis, hoping someone would find them someday, hoping medicine would advance enough to heal them. I hope I was right. I hope someone reads this and can help them. Taemin touched one of the pods. The person inside was young, maybe 20. A girl with a peaceful expression. She had been waiting 3,000 years for help that came too late. I'm sorry, he whispered. We came as fast as we could. In the data archives, Yuna made another discovery. DNA samples, preserved and cataloged. Thousands of them, a genetic library of ancient humanity. This is incredible, she said. We can compare these to modern human DNA. We can prove the connection. Hana was already running the analysis. It's a perfect match. These people are our ancestors, direct ancestors. Mi Young, the medical officer on the Discovery, joined them from the ship. She had come aboard when she heard about the stasis pods. Now she was examining the DNA data with professional interest. Look at this, she said. The genetic markers for rapid healing, for high pain tolerance, for efficient oxygen processing, these are all stronger in the ancient samples than in modern humans. What does that mean? Taemin asked. It means the Dominion didn't just enslave us, Mi Young said. They modified us, made us tougher, harder to kill, Better workers, better soldiers. That's why humans today are so resilient. It's literally in our genes. Taemin looked at his scar again. Not just a mark from a fire. A legacy from 12,000 years of survival. The 7-day countdown had begun. Somewhere in deep space, the Dominion was receiving their signal. The enemy that had enslaved humanity was coming back. And all they could do was wait, surrounded by the ghosts of their ancestors, and hope that Earth would answer their call for help in time. The message reached Earth on the 3rd day. Taemin sat in the command center, listening to Jiwoo talk with Earth Defense Command. The signal lag made conversation difficult, but the message was clear. "Help is coming," Jiwoo said after the transmission ended. "But it will take 6 days minimum. We need to hold out for 6 days." "The Dominion arrives in 4, Daehyun said. He was studying tactical displays, trying to understand the station's defensive capabilities. "We're going to have company for at least 2 days before our reinforcements arrive." Kyung-soo had been working non-stop to restore the station's systems. He looked exhausted, grease covering his face, but his eyes were bright with excitement. "This station was built for war. I found weapon systems, shield generators, even a few automated defense drones. Most of it is offline, but I think I can get some working." "Do it," Jiwoo said. "We use everything we have." The team split up. Kyung-soo and Hana worked on the station's defenses. Daehyun trained everyone on weapons, even Taemin, who had never fired a gun in his life. Vela and Yuna continued documenting everything they could, determined that even if they didn't survive, the truth would. Bo-Ra translated more logs. They learned about the rebellion, about how scattered human slaves across the galaxy had somehow communicated, organized, and struck back against their masters. The Dominion had been caught by surprise. They never expected slaves to fight. They never expected humans to be so stubborn. On the 4th day, sensors detected incoming ships, 20 vessels, massive and dark, moving in perfect formation. The Dominion had arrived. Jiwoo activated the station's communication system. A face appeared on the screen. It was tall and thin, with gray skin and too many eyes. The creature looked at them with something like disgust. "I am Supreme Arbiter Veloth of the Dominion of Kal," it said. Its voice was mechanical, translated by computers. "You are occupying stolen property. Surrender immediately." "This station belongs to Earth," Jiwoo said calmly. "You have no authority here." Veloth's multiple eyes blinked in sequence. "Earth, we thought that infestation was destroyed. How disappointing to learn we were wrong." "We're not an infestation," Taemin said, stepping forward. "We're people, and we're free." "Free?" Veloth laughed. It was a horrible sound. "You are products, created by us, modified by us, owned by us. The fact that some of you escaped does not change this basic truth." "The war ended 3,000 years ago," Vela said. She had joined them in the command center. "Your empire lost. Accept it." "Lost." Veloth focused his eyes on Vela. "And what is a Luminar doing with humans? Have you forgotten that these creatures are slaves?" "I have forgotten nothing," Vela said. "I remember what the Enduring Ones did for my people. I remember their courage. I will stand with them now." Veloth's expression changed to something that might have been anger. "Then you will die with them. You have 1 hour to evacuate. After that, we will destroy this station and everything in it." The screen went dark. "Friendly guy," Kyung-soo muttered. "Defensive positions," Jiwoo ordered. "Everyone knows their assignments. Taemin, you're in the medical bay. We're going to have wounded." "I want to fight," Taemin said. "You will," Jiwoo said. "By keeping people alive. That's your fight." The hour passed quickly. Taemin prepared the medical bay, gathering supplies, setting up beds. Mi-young worked beside him, her face set in concentration. "I'm scared," Taemin admitted. "Good," Mi-young said. "Fear keeps you sharp. Just remember your training." The first attack came exactly 1 hour after Veloth's warning. Dominion ships opened fire with weapons that lit up space like lightning. The station's shields, ancient but still functional, absorbed most of it, but not all. The station shook, alarms blared. Somewhere, something exploded. "Shields at 60%, Kyung-soo reported, returning fire." The station's weapons were old, but they worked. Energy beams and missiles launched from hidden ports, striking the Dominion ships. One enemy vessel's shields collapsed and it retreated, trailing atmosphere. But there were 19 more. The battle continued for hours. The Dominion ships were trying to overwhelm the shields through constant fire. The station fought back, but it was clear they were outmatched. "They're sending boarding parties," Dae-hyun announced. "4 ships breaking formation, heading for our airlocks." "Let them come," Ji-woo said. "Everyone to defensive positions." Tae-min heard the fighting through the walls. Gunfire, shouting, the sound of energy weapons. He forced himself to stay in the medical bay. That was his post. That was where he was needed. The first wounded arrived. A young crew member from the Discovery, burned by an energy weapon. Tae-min worked fast, treating the burns, administering pain medication. More wounded came. Humans and Vela's assistant, a young luminar who had insisted on helping. Mi-young worked beside him, her hands steady. They fell into a rhythm. Assess, treat, stabilize, over and over. Dae-hyun appeared, dragging a captured Dominion soldier. The creature was wounded, leaking dark fluid from its side. "Can you save it?" Dae-hyun asked. Tae-min hesitated. This was the enemy, but he was a doctor. "Strap it to that table. I'll do what I can." The creature fought at first, then went still as Tae-min treated its wound. It had 3 hearts, he discovered. Fascinating anatomy. He managed to stop the bleeding, seal the wound. The creature looked at him with its multiple eyes. "Why?" it asked. "Because that's what I do," Tae-min said simply. Hours blurred together. The fighting continued. The station shook with each impact. Shields were failing. Systems were going offline. But they held. Somehow they held. On the second day, Tae-min had to leave the medical bay. They needed everyone who could hold a weapon. The Dominion had breached the lower levels and was pushing upward. He found himself in a corridor, rifle in hands, standing beside Bo-ra, who looked as scared as he felt. Dae-hyun was with them, calm and focused. "They'll come from there," Dae-hyun said, pointing down the corridor. "Wait until they're close. Aim for center mass. Don't think, just shoot." Taemin's hands were shaking. He was a medic. He saved lives. He didn't take them. But then he thought about Captain Han, about all those ancient humans who had fought for freedom. This was the same fight, the same enemy. The Dominion soldiers appeared. They were fast, moving on 4 legs, weapons firing. Tae-min pulled the trigger. The rifle kicked against his shoulder. He missed, fired again. Hit something, kept firing. Bo-ra was screaming and shooting. Dae-hyun was methodical, each shot precise. The corridor filled with smoke and noise. Then it was over. The Dominion soldiers were retreating. They had held. Tae-min looked at his hands. They were still shaking, but not from fear anymore, from adrenaline, from the knowledge that he had fought and survived. "You did good," Dae-hyun said, clapping him on the shoulder. But the battle wasn't over. More Dominion troops were coming. The shields were at 15%. They were running out of time. In the command center, Ji-woo made a desperate decision. "Kyung-soo, can we overload the station's reactor?" "Yes," Kyung-soo said slowly, "but that would destroy the station." "And any ships too close to it," Ji-woo said. "We set it to overload, evacuate to our ship, and blow them all to hell." "What about the records?" Yuna protested. "All this history?" "Already uploaded to our ship," Hana said. "Everything important is backed up." "Do it," Ji-woo ordered. But before Kyung-soo could start the overload sequence, new contacts appeared on sensors. Ships. Lots of them. Coming in fast. Is it more Dominion? Taemin asked. Hana checked the readings. Then she smiled, a real smile for the first time in days. No, it's Earth. The fleet is here. On the screen, they could see them. Dozens of human warships, sleek and modern, accelerating into the battle. Leading them was a massive carrier with the words, Earth Alliance, painted on its hull. A voice came over the communication channel, strong and confident. This is Admiral Sujin of the Earth Alliance. To all Dominion forces, stand down immediately or be destroyed. Veloth's face appeared on another screen. For the first time, he looked uncertain. This is impossible. Earth does not have the capability. You've been gone a long time, Sujin interrupted. We've learned a few things. Last warning, stand down. The Dominion ships hesitated. Then, slowly, they began to retreat. But Veloth wasn't done. This is not over. We will return. Earth will fall. Come back any time, Sujin said. We'll be waiting. The Dominion fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed and vanished. The battle was over. Taemin sat down hard, his legs suddenly weak. They had done it. They had survived. Around him, people were cheering, crying, hugging each other. Vela found him and took his hand. You were very brave, she said. I was terrified, Taemin admitted. Bravery and terror often go together, Vela said. Your ancestors knew this. Now you know it too. The Earth Alliance fleet began docking with the station. Fresh troops, medics, engineers. Help had arrived. But as Taemin looked at the stars, at the emptiness where the Dominion fleet had been, he knew this wasn't over. Veloth had promised to return. The war that had ended 3,000 years ago was starting again, and this time, Earth would be ready. Admiral Sujin was shorter than Taemin expected. She walked into the station's command center like she owned it, her uniform perfectly pressed despite the long journey. Her eyes scanned everything, missing nothing. Commander Jiwoo, she said, extending a hand. Your message caused quite a stir back home. Jiwoo shook it. I imagine learning your species is 12,000 years older than you thought would do that. That's putting it mildly, Sujin said. She looked around at the ancient station, at the old technology humming with restored power. The president wants answers. The whole planet wants answers. But first, we need to deal with the immediate threat. The Dominion, Jiwoo said. Yes. Our intelligence indicates they've pulled back to regroup, but they'll return. Probably with more ships. Sujin activated a holographic display. Star maps appeared, showing fleet positions and projected enemy movements. We've been analyzing the data you sent. This Dominion of Cal is smaller than it used to be, but still formidable. They control about 40 systems. How many ships do we have? Daehyun asked. Currently? 73 warships in this sector, with more on the way. Earth mobilized the entire fleet the moment we received your message. Sujin looked at Taemin. You're the one with the scar, the one who started all this. Taemin felt his face get hot. I just got burned saving a kid. I didn't mean to start anything. Sometimes the biggest things start from small actions, Sujin said. But I'm glad you were there. If you hadn't been, we might never have known the truth. Over the next few hours, more ships arrived. Not just human ships. Vela had contacted the Luminar government, and they sent a fleet to help. Other species followed. The Krell, who had their own legends about the persistent people, arrived with heavy cruisers. The Voth brought their advanced shield technology. Why are they helping us? Taemin asked Vela. Because the stories about your ancestors are not just Luminar stories, Vela explained. They are shared across many species. The enduring ones helped many civilizations. Now those civilizations are helping you. Yuna was documenting everything with her usual thoroughness. This is unprecedented. Multiple species coming together to defend a world most of them barely know. It's beautiful, really. The planning sessions went long into the night. Admiral Su-jin coordinated with the alien commanders, working out tactics and strategies. Taimin attended some of these meetings, though he wasn't sure why. "You're a symbol," Jiwoo explained when he asked. "People look at you and see the connection to the past. It matters." "I'm just a medic," Taimin said for what felt like the 100th time. "You're never just anything," Jiwoo said. "None of us are." On the 4th day after the battle, sensors detected the Dominion return. This time they brought more ships, over 100 vessels, massive and menacing. Veloth's face appeared on every screen across the Allied fleet. "You have one final chance," he said. "Surrender Earth's location, and we will show mercy." Su-jin responded. "We're transmitting Earth's coordinates right now." Taimin's heart stopped. What was she doing? But Su-jin continued, a dangerous smile on her face. "Come and visit. We'll show you what 12,000 years of freedom has built. We'll show you what happens when humans don't have masters telling them what they can't do." Veloth's expression twisted. "So be it. You have chosen extinction." The Dominion fleet attacked, but this time, the humans were ready, and they weren't alone. The space around Sanctuary Point exploded into light and fire. Human ships moved with aggressive precision, taking risks that made the alien commanders nervous, but proved effective. Luminar vessels used their advanced targeting systems to pick off enemy fighters. Krell cruisers absorbed incredible damage and kept fighting. Voth shields protected damaged ships, giving them time to retreat and repair. Taimin watched from the station, his medical bay prepared for casualties. But something was different about this battle. The humans weren't just defending, they were adapting. "Look at that," Hana said, pointing at a screen. "The Earth ships are already modifying their tactics based on the first battle. They're compensating for the Dominion's maneuvers." Admiral Su-jin proved to be a brilliant commander. She used the human fleet's agility against the Dominion's superior firepower, drawing them into traps, splitting their formation, creating chaos in their ranks, and the human crews showed that same endurance their ancestors had. Ships took damage that would have disabled other vessels, but kept fighting. Injured crew members stayed at their posts. When told to fall back, human captains asked for 5 more minutes. "They don't give up," Vela said, watching in awe. "Even when they should, they don't." A Dominion cruiser broke through the defensive lines, heading straight for the station. Taimin felt his stomach drop. They had weapons, but not enough to stop something that size. Then 3 human destroyers intercepted it. They were smaller, weaker, but they were fast. They swarmed the cruiser like insects, firing constantly, targeting weak points. One destroyer took a direct hit and exploded, but the other 2 kept attacking. The cruiser's shields failed. The destroyers poured fire into its hull. The massive ship began to break apart. "They sacrificed themselves," Taimin whispered. "No," Daehyun said. He was monitoring the battle channels. "The crew of that first destroyer evacuated. They set their ship on autopilot and used it as a missile. Risky, crazy, but it worked." That was the turning point. The Dominion fleet, seeing the ferocity of the defense, seeing species they considered inferior working together, began to falter. Veloth tried to rally them. "They are slaves. They are property. Do not fear them." But his own fleet was falling apart. Ships were breaking formation, retreating. Some were even surrendering. Finally, Veloth himself retreated. His flagship jumped to faster-than-light speed, followed by what remained of his fleet. Out of 100 ships, maybe 40 escaped. The Allied fleet had lost ships, too. 15 human vessels destroyed, 3 Luminar cruisers heavily damaged, 1 Krell carrier crippled. But they had won. The cheering across the communication channels was deafening. Taimin found himself smiling, then laughing. They had done it. They had actually done it. But the casualties started arriving soon after. Taimin's smile faded as he got back to work. The medical bay filled with wounded from a dozen different species. He moved between them, treating burns, sealing wounds, saving lives. Mi Young worked beside him, as tireless as ever. "We're going to need more supplies," she said. "Already on the way," Kyung-soo said, appearing in the doorway. He looked exhausted. 3 medical ships just docked. More doctors arrived, human and alien. They worked together, sharing knowledge, learning from each other. A Luminar physician showed Taemin a technique for treating radiation burns. Taemin taught a Voth doctor about human bone structure. Hours passed. The wounded kept coming, but fewer now. Most were stable. Most would survive. Taemin finally took a break, sitting in a corridor, his back against the wall. His arms ached, his eyes burned, but he felt good, useful. Admiral Soo-jin found him there. She sat down beside him, not caring that her uniform would get dirty. "Thank you," she said simply. "For what?" "I'm just doing my job. For starting this. For being curious enough to ask questions when that alien woman noticed your scar. For coming on this journey." Soo-jin looked at him seriously. "Because of you, Earth knows its true history. Because of you, we found allies across the galaxy. Because of you, we were ready when the Dominion came back." "I got lucky," Taemin said. "Maybe. But luck favors those who act. You acted. You always act, don't you? Running into fires, standing against enemies, treating wounded even when you're exhausted. That's not luck. That's character." Taemin didn't know what to say to that. Soo-jin stood up. "The Galactic Council wants to meet with us. Earth is being invited to join as a full member. They're also discussing what to do about the Dominion. This isn't over, but we've proven we deserve a seat at the table." "What happens now?" Taemin asked. Now we go home. You, me, everyone here. We return to Earth as heroes. You'll probably get a medal." Soo-jin smiled. "But knowing you, you'll probably just want to go back to work." She was right. Taemin was already thinking about the medical bay, about the patients who still needed care. Vela appeared, along with Yuna and the rest of the team. They all looked as tired as Taemin felt. "We did good work here," Ji-woo said. "All of us." "The archives are complete," Yuna said. "Every piece of data from this station has been recorded. The story of the ancient humans will be told." "More than told," Vela said. "It will be remembered, celebrated. Your ancestors will finally get the recognition they deserve." Taemin looked at his scar. In the harsh lights of the station, it seemed to glow slightly. Or maybe he was just tired and seeing things. "They would be proud of you," Vela said softly. "All of you. You fought like they fought, endured like they endured. You proved that the spirit of the enduring ones never died. It just slept, waiting for the right moment to wake up." And looking around at his friends, at the Allied fleet outside, at the ancient station that had kept its secrets for 3,000 years, Taemin thought maybe she was right. The journey home was about to begin. Earth looked different when they came home. Or maybe Taemin had changed and saw it with new eyes. The blue and green planet hung in space like a jewel, precious and beautiful. 47 ships orbited it now, a permanent defense fleet. Earth was no longer hidden. Earth was ready. The Discovery docked at the new orbital station they were calling Unity. It was bigger than Celestial Station Harmony, designed to accommodate hundreds of species. Already, aliens were walking its corridors, Luminars, Krell, Voth, and dozens of others. Earth had gone from being alone in the universe to being part of a vast community. "Welcome home," a voice said over the communication channel. It was the President herself, speaking to every ship in the fleet. "You left Earth as explorers and came back as heroes. You discovered our past and secured our future. On behalf of all humanity, thank you." The ceremony was overwhelming. Taemin stood on a stage in front of thousands of people. Cameras were everywhere. He had never been comfortable with attention, and this was attention on a scale he couldn't imagine. Admiral Su-jin received the Star of Valor, Earth's highest military honor. Ji-woo was promoted to captain and given command of a new ship. Hana was offered a position leading Earth's Xenoscience division. Kyung-soo was already working with manufacturers to upgrade Earth's ship designs based on what he had learned from the ancient station. And Tae-min received the Humanitarian Medal for service to all species. The president herself pinned it to his chest. "You saved a child from a fire," she said quietly, so only he could hear. "And in doing so, you saved us all. That's the power of simple kindness." The ceremony ended. Tae-min escaped as quickly as he could, finding a quiet corridor in the station. His arm still ached where the metal pressed against it. Or maybe it was his scar, remembering. Vela found him there, as he somehow knew she would. "You disappeared," she said. "Too many people," Tae-min admitted. "I'm not good with crowds." "Few truly good people are," Vela said. She looked different in human clothing. She had decided to stay on Earth for a while, serving as an ambassador from the Luminar people. "I wanted to thank you properly, without cameras and speeches." "For what?" "For being exactly who you are. Not a soldier, not a hero. Just someone who helps people because that is what you do." She took his hand, the one with the scar. "The enduring ones were not special because they were strong. They were special because they were kind. You reminded me of that." 3 months passed. Sanctuary Point was converted into a memorial and research station. Humans and aliens worked together there, studying the ancient technology, preserving the history. The stasis pods were given proper burial rites, attended by representatives from every species that the ancient humans had helped. Captain Han's log was played at the ceremony. Thousands watched as the ancient captain spoke about sacrifice and hope. When it ended, there wasn't a dry eye in the audience. "They gave up everything so we could be free," the president said in her speech. "We owe them a debt we can never repay, but we can honor them. We can live the way they lived, with courage, with kindness, with the knowledge that freedom is worth any sacrifice." Tae-min visited the memorial once. He stood in front of Captain Han's preserved quarters, looking at photographs of people who had been dead for 3,000 years but felt like family. "I hope we make you proud," he said quietly. Earth joined the Galactic Council officially in a ceremony broadcast across 100 worlds. The vote was unanimous. Every species that had legends of the enduring ones voted in favor. Even species that had never heard of humans voted yes, impressed by how Earth had fought alongside its allies. "This is a new era," the council speaker said. "An era of cooperation, of unity, of species working together for common good. Earth embodies this ideal. Welcome, humans. Welcome home." But the Dominion was still out there. Veloth had escaped, and intelligence suggested he was rebuilding his forces. The war wasn't over. It had just begun. Tae-min returned to his work. He didn't want a fancy position or a cushy job. He wanted to help people. So he established a new program, the Interspecies Medical Exchange. Human doctors would train with alien physicians, and alien doctors would learn from humans. Knowledge would be shared freely. The program's headquarters was on Unity Station. Vela helped him design it, combining Luminar biotech with human adaptive medicine. Mi Young joined as co-director, bringing her expertise in genetics. On opening day, Tae-min stood in the main hall looking at students from a dozen different species. Young doctors, all eager to learn, all ready to help. "Medicine is universal," he told them. "Pain is the same in every language. Suffering needs no translation. What we do here matters, not because we're human or Luminar or Krell or Voth, because we're healers. That's who we are. That's what we do." The students listened, taking notes, asking questions. Tae-min looked at his scar as he talked, using it as a teaching tool. "I got this saving a child from a fire," he said. "It hurt. It still hurts sometimes. But I would do it again without hesitation, because that child deserved to live. Every patient deserves our best effort. Every life matters." After the class, a young Luminar student approached him. "Is it true?" she asked. "The story about your scar? About the woman who recognized it?" "Yes," Taemin said. "And you never knew? You just thought it was a regular scar?" "I still think it's a regular scar," Taemin said. "What happened after all the history we uncovered, that was just chance." "I don't think so," the student said. "I think some things are meant to be. I think you were meant to have that scar. Meant to meet Vela. Meant to find the truth." Taemin smiled. "Maybe. Or maybe the universe is just strange and coincidences happen. Either way, here we are." The years passed. Earth grew stronger. The defense fleet expanded. Human ships patrolled the space around their home world, working alongside alien vessels. Trade routes opened. Cultural exchanges happened. A Luminar opera house opened in New York. A human jazz club became popular on the Krell homeworld. Bora published a book about the ancient humans, translating their logs and stories. It became a bestseller across the galaxy. Yuna was awarded the Galactic Medal of Historical Achievement for her work, documenting the truth. Dae-Hyun trained a new generation of security officers, teaching them tactics from both ancient human records and modern warfare. His students were human and alien, all learning together. Ji-Woo commanded the new ship they named the Endurance. She explored the galaxy, mapping new systems, making contact with species that had never met humans before. Everywhere she went, she told the story of the ancient ones, of the sacrifice and courage of people 3,000 years dead. And the Dominion? They attacked twice more. Both times, the Allied fleet drove them back. Veloth was killed in the third battle, his flagship destroyed. Without his leadership, the Dominion began to fracture. Some systems surrendered. Others asked to join the Galactic Council. The empire that had enslaved humanity 12,000 years ago was dying. 10 years after finding Sanctuary Point, Taemin stood in the same medical bay where this had all started. Celestial Station Harmony had been upgraded, expanded, integrated into the new galactic community. But this room looked the same. He was older now, gray starting to show in his hair. His scar had faded slightly, becoming just another part of his skin. Students worked around him, treating patients, learning their craft. Vela visited often. She had returned to her homeworld but came back regularly to guest lecture. Today she stood beside him, watching the students work. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "How your life changed?" Taemin thought about it. He had lost his quiet anonymity. He had faced enemies and seen death, but he had also found purpose beyond himself. "No," he said finally. "I miss the simplicity sometimes, but this feels right. This feels like what I'm supposed to be doing." "Teaching the next generation," Vela said. "Helping people," Taemin corrected. "Teaching is just one way to do that." A young human doctor approached, new to the station. "Dr. Taemin, I need help with a patient. Luminar physiology, respiratory issue, and I'm not sure about the treatment." Taemin smiled. "Show me." As he walked through the medical bay, he passed a mirror. For just a moment, he stopped and looked at his reflection, at his scar. It was just a scar, a mark from a fire, from a moment when he had run toward danger instead of away from it. But it had become more than that. It had become a symbol, a reminder that small acts of courage could change everything. "You coming?" the young doctor asked. "Yes," Taemin said. He touched his scar one last time, then followed. In the medical bay, a Luminar patient waited. She was young, frightened, in pain. Taemin sat beside her, his voice calm and reassuring. "It's going to be okay," he said. "We'll figure this out. We'll help you." The patient looked at him, saw his scar, and seemed to relax. "Thank you," she whispered. "You're welcome," Taemin said. And in that moment, with students learning and patients healing and the vast galaxy spreading out beyond the station's windows, Taemin understood something profound. His ancestors, those ancient humans who had fought and struggled and sacrificed, they hadn't done it for glory. They hadn't done it to be remembered. They had done it for moments like this. For the simple act of one person helping another. For the connection between beings who chose kindness over cruelty, courage over fear. The legacy wasn't in the battles won or the empires defeated. The legacy was in every healed wound, every comforted patient, every student who learned to care. That was what it meant to endure. Not just to survive, but to keep helping, keep trying, keep caring even when it was hard. The scar on his arm was proof, not of his specialness, but of his humanity. And that humanity, that stubborn refusal to give up or stop caring, that was what connected him to every human who had ever lived. From the ancient ones who walked through fire to save strangers, to the modern ones who reached for the stars. Vela was right. He couldn't be real because what he represented seemed impossible. Beings who helped simply because they could, who endured simply because they must, who gave everything simply because someone needed help. But he was real. They all were. The enduring ones had never left. They had just been waiting, generation after generation, for the moment when they would be needed again. And when that moment came, when the universe called out for help, they had answered. Just like they always had. Just like they always would.